Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along. We are just finishing getting set up for the German Grand Prix here at the Nürburgring. Ooh, it's sure to be an exciting one. I know this doesn't sound very enthusiastic, but I'm just quickly trying to get the chat up so I can monitor it for you guys and check the audio levels and stuff like that. That's pretty happy for me. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty sure the audio from Gran Turismo itself is pretty good as well. So we're going to get these guys into qualifying, and we are going to see some crazy stuff. Okay, so that's a good start. We see Shed in the wall. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to the German Grand Prix, round number 5 of the ISR Red Bull World Series. It's sure to be an interesting one as we get qualifying underway for these ladies and gentlemen. I just finished speaking to those guys, and they were saying to me that they expect tyres to be quite a significant issue for them tonight. That being said, we are on the racing softs as our maximum tyre today. It's per the regulations for the season. We have a car doing some crazy things in the pit lane. Russell is... I'm really not sure what Russell's doing right now. His AI is freaking out. Obviously, you have no control in the pit lane, so I'm not really sure. Russell having some sort of connection issue. Yeah, he'll have to, like, exit the pits and come back out on circuit again. He should be good to go with that being said. Anyway, regardless, yes, so on the subject of the matter, we are on soft tyres for this evening, no super softs. We do return to them next week at Northern Isle Speedway, but that means these guys have a lot less grip than what they would have had this time. We're reporting a pit lane glitch. Looks like it is exclusively affecting Russell. So Russell having some sort of connection issue. We might have to restart the session here. We're just going to try to communicate with him a little bit. See, I'm not sure if we can end this. We can save the settings. Sorry about this, folks. Technical difficulties due to Russell having some incident. Can anyone... This is very unprofessional. Sorry about this, guys. Oh dear, so Russell here, and this is what we're looking at resetting from, because Russell is having some sort of connection issue which is causing a pit lane glitch, which is causing obviously him to be unable to leave the pit lane and participate in qualifying, but as Ayrton Spencer pointed out in the chat, it will affect him in the race as well. I mean, I'm not sure if he's tried exiting and going back to the pits, or if it's not going to let him do that. But we're just trying to gauge what the chat is saying. Please stand by. We're going to go to a commercial break real quick while we figure out what we're going on, and then we'll be right back with you. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We just had a little debate with the chat there, team, if we're going to restart the session or not. It was pretty much an overwhelming majority for a no. So unfortunately for Russell, the session will not be restarted. Him himself decided to vote against a restart, and therefore that is one of the reasons why the session will not be restarted for him. So nevertheless, back on to qualifying. We've missed a good chunk of it there due to that technical issue, which I do apologise for. So with that being said, let's have a look at the grid order at the moment then. So currently Ayrton Spencer is sat on provisional pole ahead of Avanza 7, who is ahead of Sonics. Then Dougie Afroman is in P4 at the moment, Lenny TBD P5, Skull TBD is in P6 behind them. Then it is Philly Wool, he's ahead of Moju, ahead of the struggling Russell in the pit lane, who will have to disconnect. Seven's in P11. Has just made a big mistake, actually. Schechter for P12, and Chillakiller has just set a time to go up into P2 in the leaderboard. So we'll see where everyone else is. Everyone else looking like they're on an outlap at the moment. Dougie Afroman. Oh, we've got cars getting loose all over the show. We do have Avanza 7 coming through on an outlap as well. So just trying to find who's on a good. Here's a good lap to follow then. Philly Wob. He's currently on a personal best, but you can see the amount of traffic he's coming up to is absolutely crazy. So he'll be coming through this sector now, looking to try get on there. You can see he's running the traction control down on the bottom right to try and get a little bit extra traction to help him improve on his personal best. Now, he is a second improvement on his personal best. This will be a very good lap time for Philly Wool if he can continue like this to the end. So coming up to the final chicane now for Philly Wool. We'll see from the TV cameras. No Mr. Ralph here today, by the looks of things, has not shown up. So last week's race winner will not be able to repeat himself. Philly Wool will be running the Phillium ship as of today. Around the final corner we go, and down the back straight. Philly Wool up to the line. What lap time is this going to be for the Northern Irishman? And it's going to be P6. As Skull TBD has quite a dramatic spin there. We'll see if we can catch just how that happened. So here it was, and he just gets on the throttle too early on the grass, overcorrects, and a big spin for the ISR car. So Ayrton Spencer still on provisional pole, and he will be on there. I will probably rage quit to don't restart. Thanks, says Russell. Yep, no problem. You a bit behind on that one, but no, that's fine. Unlucky with that one. It seems like it could be a connection issue with you, Russell, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's a bit strange. That usually happens when your connection isn't as good to the host as it usually is. But I mean, just give it a race, see how it goes. And if it affects you, obviously just disconnect. Okay, so Ayrton Spencer on provisional pole still, but he's not far ahead of Chillakiller, who isn't that far ahead of Avanza 7 either. Then there's 0.2 of a second between the likes of Avanza 7 and Sonics, who's only half a second ahead of Skull TBD. So the field looking relatively compact right now as Chillakiller gets going on another qualifying lap. Ayrton Spencer is out on a good one as well. Sonic sets a lap time good enough for second place. He's about a 10.5 away, about 0.2 away from Ayrton Spencer and a 10.5 away from Chillakiller, who are all on laps at the moment as well. Ayrton Spencer has gone purple though through sector 3, so this is looking like a vast improvement for the Welshman. Coming up to the chicane. And then running up to the final corner, we've been purple all the way so far. So for Ayrton Spencer, does technically temporarily lose provisional pole to Avanza 7. Is he able to reclaim that out of the final corner? It's estimating a best lap time for him, and he does reclaim it in a dominant way. 0.5 of a second. brilliant lap from the Welshman. He'll be very happy with that. Avanza 7 is on a very good lap to be in P2 as well. The midfield looking very competitive. Moju now comes into P8 with his recent attempt at a lap time. Russell's still in the session. Obviously, he's just going to try and wait it out and see if he can race as normal. Now, Lenny TBD's down in P10. He needs to improve. A teammate of 7's has yet to set a clean lap time, so he'll need to go as well. Oh no, Chiller Killer. Big mistake from Chiller Killer, as he was on a pretty good lap, challenging for that pole position. Let's have a look what happened through the Schumacher S's. Just eats too much of the curb, goes around and in the gravel, and that's going to hinder his chances. He'll need to go around and get ready for another lap. Okay, so Sonics is the next man coming up to the line. He'll need to challenge for that 139.2, but he's not going to be able to, so he opts to pit in a little bit early. Get some new tyres on the go, as you usually do. Anyone else out on an absolute scorcher right now? Let's see if we can check the timings. Is Ayrton on an improvement, or is this a lap he's coming in for some new tyres? He looks like, yeah, he's going very wide, so it's definitely not a fast lap. Avanza 7 is on a lap, though. Is it a fast lap? No, he comes into the pits. Chiller Killer's going again. Despite his tyres will be, obviously they'll still be dirty from that incident at the Schumacher S's, but at the same time they're going to be quite worn as well, because we all know how volatile these tyres can be when you have a spin or that sort of thing. So he'll have to be very careful on this qualified lap. I'm not sure if he'll be able to go faster. He sets personal best though in Sector 1, so he's challenging for P3 at the very least at the moment. Lenny TBD improves into P7 with his most recent effort on qualifying. We head into the hairpin with Chiller Killer. Still searching for that time. Obviously, we don't want to make the same mistake we had before. Schechter goes into P8, 7 to set a lap time, which will at least beat his teammate and see him off the back of the grid. Chiller Killer has lost time, though, through Sector 2 compared to his personal best, so he needs it all to do in Sector 3. He's going to have an absolute scorcher, especially if he wants to challenge Spen. It's looking very unlikely. He makes a little bit of a mistake in Sector 3. Struggling just a little bit as we come onto the back straight, and a big twitch there sees him take up some gravel, and he's not going to be improving on this lap. It's been an absolute nightmare of a lap. His best recommendation now is to get into the pits and just try push as much as he can to try get a final lap in. He might get a final 2 laps if he pits now, but his tyres are absolutely gone. It would be very unwise to stay out, and he has stayed out on them old ruined tyres. So Chiller Killer giving himself all to do. That's going to be an interesting one for him. We have 10 viewers in the chat this evening. Hello to each and every one of you. Glad to see you. Do let me know how you're doing in the chat, and if you're looking forward to the German Grand Prix. Despite Sven setting an absolutely monstrous qualifying time, we are seeing some very close times, so it'll be very interesting to watch and see what everyone can do. I'm very much looking forward to it. The midfield, very, very close. Top 4, there's a bit of a gap to the top 4, but then beyond there, it's a matter of tenths between each other. And speaking of which, Skull TBD is on a personal best at the moment, so we'll ride on board with the Scotsman coming through the final chicane now, up to the final corner. He needs to improve on a 141.8 to improve on his personal best. Will he be able to do that? Round the final corner we come, and then you got to be careful when you do it, but get back on the throttle, run up to the line now. Is he going to improve? He does by just a fraction. Improves there. 7's improves. Only P11 for him though. Dougie Afroman sets a lap time, which is good enough for P5. Knocks Philly Wool off his perch. He'll have to respond to that. Air Spinner on an out lap. Avanza 7 on a quick lap, as is Sonics. So Sonics and Avanza 7 are going to be the next heavy hitters we see come across the line. Looks like Dougie Afroman's continuing for another lap. Philly Wool is also out on another lap, trying to reclaim his 5th place, as is Skull TBD giving it another go, but he's got traffic ahead of him. Schechter, unlucky for the podium sitter at the moment, only in P9. We see yellow flags. Has someone made a mistake? Yes, Skull TBD has made a big mistake. Let's see if we can find out what happened here. So we saw him go personal best through this sector, and looks like he just got on the throttle too much, went on the AstroTurf, and a big old spin. The Scotsman really struggling so far this session. So with that being said, Sonics is coming out the final corner now. He's challenged for pole position. This will likely be one more opportunity after this. He puts himself up into second place. So right now, he's on a good start for the front row. Sorry, he's got one more attempt to take pole position. He's got to find 2.5 attempts to do that. That's if Sven does not improve. However, speaking of improvements, Avanza 7 is finding time. He's on a personal best at the moment. Is he going to be able to take second place back away from the American? We will see. Out the final corner comes the Scotsman. Philly Wool's going to set a lap time as well. So we'll see 2 for 1 here. Philly Wool hasn't been able to improve. It doesn't look like, but Avanza unable to take back that P2. He'll have to have one last crack at it. What about Chiller? Chiller was on an outlap, so this will be his last attempt. He did pit in the end. Dougie Aframan has made a pretty big mistake as well. Let's see if we can find out what happened here. He was already going pretty slow. And what was that? So, interesting one for Dougie Aframan. Looks like he was letting someone through and went to get back on the throttle too early, and the car just said, no, you're all right. Ayrton Spenner then on a lap. Is he able to extend his provisional pole buffer for the German Grand Prix? Out the final corner he will come, and this is what the time they're all going to have to aim for. If it is an improvement, he needs to improve on a 1:39.2. Cannot do it. So it's still that 1:39.2 that they're all aiming for. Sonics is on the final lap, as is Avanza 7, as is Chiller Killer. Chiller Killer setting a personal best, looking the strongest out of these three at the moment. Sonics is coming up towards the final chicane now. He'll need to absolutely hook it up and nail it if he wants a chance at that 2.5 attempts that he needs to take pole position at the German Grand Prix. Coming up to the final corner now. It's a 32, 33, 34. He's got to get a 39.2 to take pole position. Is he going to be able to do it and take it away from Ayrton Spenner? No, he's not. It'll be P2 for Sonics unless this man can dethrone him. It's 2.5 attempts between the two. So, yeah, 2.5 attempts needed for Avanza 7, so he's going to need a low 1:39 as well. Messes up the chicane. That could be quite detrimental. Coming around the final corner now. Is there anything from Avanza 7 to the line? Nothing doing. Sonics takes P2. And the final man to give it a go then is Chiller Killer up to the line. And no improvement. So it is Sonics P2, but Ayrton Spenner on pole position. Scheckterfer absolutely ruins his chances right at the end. Moju coming around the final corner now. Is he able to do anything to improve from P9? If he will, it won't be by much. Yep, no improvement. And Sevens is off in the gravel. So Ayrton Spenner is your pole sitter for the German Grand Prix ahead of Sonics and Avanza 7. And Chiller Killer will line up P4. Scheckterfer but does manage to improve to go P5 in the end, as we'll settle down for a moment and get ready for your German Grand Prix 32 laps of madness. So there is your full lineup for the German Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen. It's always interesting to see who does what on the first lap. Now remember, you cannot win the race on the first lap, only lose it. But these gentlemen will have to be very careful as one of the most even grid lineups. We speak in terms of how separated the grid boxes are there of the season, because there were very little space between the grid boxes here. So this is Sonics' best opportunity to get the lead into turn 1 early. But we'll find out. We have the courtesy of seeing the 5 or 4 red lights. 3, 2, 1. Here we go for the German Grand Prix. Lights out and away they go. Who gets a better start? Amazing start from Scheckterfer in the background. He's challenging those cars around him very soon. And Sonics looks like he gets a pretty good start. Is he able to send it down the inside of Ayrton Spenner? Yes, he is. So there you go. Sonics takes the lead of the German Grand Prix. Forces Spenner out wide to say, I'm here to try win this race. And Ayrton Spenner will not be happy with that. He's already under pressure from Chiller Killer as a result. Chiller Killer now sends it down the inside. Terrible start for our championship leader. He's already under a lot of pressure. But Chiller Killer looking very feisty, as is Scheckterfer battling away with his teammate in the background. We can see cars going all over the place. Pretty bad start from the likes of Philly Wool and Dougie Aframan in the back. Now Chiller Killer has taken the lead of the German Grand Prix immediately. Caught. Oh, and Sonics takes out Chiller Killer. What happened there? Oh, and he was absolutely booted off the circuit. And he's dropped all the way down to 7th. I'm sure he will not be happy with that. Was Sonic seeing red mist? Was it justified? It's very hard to tell. A lot of controversy for the beginning of the race. Anyway, Sonic's leads under immense pressure from an Ayrton Spinner. He already lost first place once. Is he going to lose it twice on one lap? Oh no! Avanza 7 makes a huge mistake and drops all the way to the back of the grid, similar to how he did in Fuji, and he'll have to work his way all the way from the back. And it's very hard to tell what happened to him here. Just gets on the curb, overcorrects, and around spinning he goes. Oh dear. So Sonic's leads lap 1. Ayrton Spinner is behind him. Schechtefer is the next man behind him. Then it's Lenny TBD. Moju up to P5. Skull TBD P6. But Chiller Killer already starting to get feisty and trying to get them positions back as Skull TBD very unhappy and really forcing Chiller to the inside line there to try prevent that move from being done. But Chiller Killer does get the move done down the inside of Skull TBD up to P6. And he might be able to get 2 for 1 here because Moju's going a little bit slow out of turn 1. But they've made it all around safely. Ayrton Spinner really putting the pressure on Sonics here. Battle of experience will be one at the front. Ayrton Spinner definitely has the pace over Sonics as he goes purple and proves that point. However, Sonics is pretty good around here, holding his track, holding his nerve, holding his position. He needs to spread the gap out a little bit more with Ayrton Spinner because he's giving him too much to work with here as he lines up a move for the inside line, down the inside for the hairpin. Who's the last of the late breakers? It's Sonic, but that puts him out a little bit wide. Ayrton Spinner now temporarily takes the lead of the Grand Prix, but Sonics now has the inside line for the Schumacher S's. Does Ayrton Spinner have enough of a drive to take that away from him? Side by side through the Schumacher S's they go, and Ayrton Spinner pulls off a tremendous move to retake the lead of the Grand Prix, but Sonics is trying to go back down the inside. Ayrton Spinner closes the door very, very well. Ayrton Spinner makes a little bit of a mistake, and it looks like there was potentially contact there between Sonics and Ayrton Spinner as he gets sent around. Let's see if we can find out if there was contact or not. It looked like Ayrton Spinner was having a little bit of an issue of himself, and no, it does. Oh yes, there was definitely contact. So Ayrton Spinner has a mistake of his own, recovers from it, and Sonics finishes the job. So that's 2 race leaders taken out by Sonics at the very start of the race, and now Chiller Killer is having even more issues. He drops down to the back of the grid as well. Well, I mean, if I'm being brute honest, Sonics has taken a very, very controversial lead of the German Grand Prix. He now has only his compatriot to challenge in the background. Lenny TBD up into 3rd place. Moju is now up into 4th as a result. And then Dougie Afroman chasing him behind. Oh, what happened there? Sevens just goes absolutely flying. So Sevens was battling away with Ayrton Spinner after Ayrton Spinner quickly dispatched him. And then coming into the corner, oh, he just touches the grass. Oh, that could have been absolutely huge. He broke on the grass and went drifting past Ayrton Spinner. Everyone is cracking under severe amounts of pressure this evening. Skull TBD looks like he's made a mistake somewhere too. Obviously, that's before we've been able to see, unfortunately. But everyone cracking under pressure so far this Grand Prix, including the race leader, making contact with his challengers twice. If you can't beat them, kill them, says Ed. As clearly not Sonic not earning himself any fans today. That's 2, I have to admit, 2 race leaders have been taken out by Sonic so far. We'll have to wait for a full steward's review before we can really comment any further on that. Lenny TBD kept himself out of trouble, got himself up into a podium as a result, as Moju and Dougie Afroman come from the back of the grid to find himself in a very comfortable midfield position. Now, Avanza 7 leads this midfield battle of ex-race leaders of Ayrton Spinner and Chiller Killer behind them, but now Avanza 7 makes a mistake, and that's going to allow Ayrton Spinner to try go around the outside, and he gets the job done before we're even into the final corner, so great stuff from him. Avanza 7 will look for some sort of switchback, but with these two having a lot of cars to pass in front of them, I'm not sure how hard we'll see them battle. We'll see Avanza 7 looking down the inside, at least trying to hint a manoeuvre. Nothing doing. Dougie Afroman is battling away with Moju as the battle for 4th really starting to have a Constantina effect now. The Moju monorail is beginning to form. Oh, and Dougie Afroman thought about a send down the inside there. He was running out of room so fast. Ollie in the chat says, I don't think there was contact there. Hard to see from that angle though. From my angle, from my perspective, it definitely looked like there was contact. Ayrton Spinner definitely had a moment of his own. There's no denying that. But for me, like I said, we'll have to see a full stewards review. But for me, it looked like Ayrton Spinner recovered from that. and then Sonics went straight into the back of him. Philly Wool, speaking of which, has made a mistake of his own. Now, was the contact there? Or did he just make a simple error? We'll see if we can find out. Coming into the hairpin, he was under pressure from the race leader, Ayrton Spener. Was there contact, or did he just try and outbrake? And I'm not sure, actually. Looks like he just messed up his braking zone, but I mean, he did gain a lot of speed. I'm not sure about that one. Bit of a tricky one to call again. And Spener now on the move again, though. He's going up the inside of Dougie Afroman to get that position secure. Up into P5 he goes. And our championship leader back into P5 then. Sonics leads from Schechter, who has a 9/10 penalty. Lenny TBD is next up in line. Moju is next. And look at this absolute chaotic battle going on in the background. As we can see, it's going to be Avanza 7 trying to line up a move to the inside of Dougie Afroman. Ayrton Spener gets past Moju as well. Avanza 7 gets Dougie Afroman on the switchback. Contact between the two as Dougie Afroman tries to send it back up the inside and hold his nerve. But Avanza 7's going to send it back and return the favour in exactly the same style. And P6 will go to the Scotsman, over the Scotsman. A bit of a weird sentence to say. Ayrton Spener, though, up into P4. Avanza 7 up into P6. And Dougie Afroman down into P7. Chiller Killer is setting purple times, but he's definitely been affected. Skull TBD trailing in the background. So Schechter's definitely pulling away from Lenny TBD at the moment. So we'll see just how much Ayrton Spener is able to gain on Lenny TBD over the next few laps. Avanza 7 is following him. Dougie Afroman's not too far behind either, though. He may have been passed, but he's not been dropped. Philly Wolf through the Schumacher S's. Then it's Chiller Killer. Then it's Moju. Moju? I'm not sure if we're going to miss this. It looks like we missed it. Oh, and he had some contact with Chiller Killer. But he just absolutely fell down the order. So a very tough few laps for Moju. So, Sonics leads from Schechter. From Lenny TBD once again, Ayrton Spener. Did we see a gain there? I believe the gap was 4 tenths at the start of this lap, so it looks like Ayrton Spener has definitely gained a few seconds. So we're seeing a bit of a train again behind. Dougie Afroman being closed in a little bit on this lap by Philly Wool. Then, of course, Chiller Killer behind him, who recently passed Moju for P9. And that's it, definitely where the main train is forming in the middle sector. I don't think we're that far away from seeing the first pit stops. I mean, the tyres are not really holding up that well. Especially those who've had incidents, spins, contact, anything like that. Oh, Chiller Killer going very wide and making a big mistake. We caught that live. He just went wide and in trying to get back, overcorrected. And it's really turned into a race of torment for Chiller. A man who took the lead on lap 1, had contact, and was taken to the back of the grid pretty swiftly. Oh, dearie me. Schechter falling ever further away from Sonics. Lenny TBD definitely being caught by Ayrton Spener now. Avanza 7 in P5 being dropped by Ayrton Spener. So Ayrton Spener's absolutely flying at the moment. Definitely the fastest man on the circuit with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix to boot as well. He set that last lap. So Ayrton Spener is absolutely gunning for as many positions as he can back. Will he be able to get the lead of the Grand Prix back? We'll have to see. There's a long way to go, so it's certainly possible, especially if he keeps at this pace. Let's actually compare him to the race leader. So a 1:39.9 was the previous lap for Ayrton Spener, a 1:40.3. So he gained 4 tenths on the race leader on that lap. He lost a little bit of time on the most recent lap though, so Ayrton Spener definitely feeling the effects of dirty air at the moment. Obviously, Sonics gets to enjoy the beautifulness, which is clear air, as Chiller Killer now has to pass Moju again. To the inside, he will go down into turn 1 to try to take P8 away from Moju. Moju tries to hold it on the outside, but opts for a switchback maneuver, and he tries to get on the throttle, but the car says no, and he does have a little bit of a moment that costs him the position, but he might be able to send it back down the inside, especially now Chiller Killer's gone super wide, but Moju opts not to. Chiller Killer moves himself back up into P8, and he'll have to try not make any future mistakes so he can continue on his charge forward. I say that, he almost makes a mistake again there. Ayrton Spencer struggling to pass Lenny TBD at the moment. Lenny TBD hanging on for dear life, trying to hold on to his single podium this season. Toward the Schumacher S as we come. Ayrton Spencer really trying to line up a move on Lenny TBD at the moment. So coming out of the final corner, looks like Lenny got a very good run, actually. And that's going to hurt Ayrton Spencer's opportunity to make a move anytime soon. Coming into the final chicane now, we'll see. Does he gain in gears? A little bit under braking. Not sure who got the better exit. It looks like Lenny's actually getting really good runs here, and Ayrton Spencer has opted for an undercut. So he has had to resort to a different strategy, but this could trigger a lot of pit stops. Dougie Afroman is the next one to follow into the pits. Chiller Killer stays out, and everyone behind him stays out. So it's going to be Ayrton Spencer and Dougie Afroman going for the undercut, and I think this could be the what's the word I'm looking for there? What is that word? The domino effect. Wasn't even close. Ayrton Spencer comes out of the pits. Philly Wool is right behind him, but he is going to come out in clear air. So good stuff from the TBD team to get him out. And as is Dougie Afroman, to be fair. He's got quite a lot of free air to work with as well. School TBD comes into the pits now. So we can see there is quite a significant amount of undercut potential in this race so far. And that will be the domino effect, I reckon, for the pit stops. I reckon we'll see pretty much everybody in the pits over the next lap or two, as they try to dance around on these worn tyres. I mean, you can see Schechter's fronts are actually almost as worn as his rears. Now, that's quite interesting for Schechter because he's actually the only car on the track where his front tyre wear is this bad. You can compare it to the cars around him. You see Sonic's has got a lot more front tyre, and so does Lenny TBD as well. You can see on the bottom left there. So Schechter really struggling with the front tyres as much as his rears, and he's the only car to do that. Considering these are locked setups, that's very interesting for Schechter. So Avanzo 7's turn to catch Lenny TBD would be next. Chiller Killer is closing in on Philly Wool. Really gains under braking there. Oh, and he makes another mistake. He just gets on the throttle too early. Chiller Killer, you need to calm down. You can't be doing this. He just gets on the throttle immediately, and it's costing him massive amounts of time here today. Sonic's in the pit lane, responding to the undercut threat around him. Lenny TBD comes into the pits as well. So Sonics comes out, and he does lose the lead of the Grand Prix to Schechter. So Schechter hasn't pitted, but he is able to interfere with the race leader here. It could potentially work out for him a little bit later in the Grand Prix when it comes in turn for his pit stop if he goes for a different strategy. We saw something similar to this. The best accurate description I can give you is USA 2018 with Raikkonen and Hamilton. Unfortunately for Schechter, he's dispatched pretty easily. He did cause a little bit of pain through the first sector, but it was like taking candy from a baby with a difference in tyres in the end. And the lead of the Grand Prix goes back to Sonics. Then Avanzo 7 is yet to pit, but he's already been caught by Ayrton Spencer. So you can see just how powerful this undercut we're talking about is. Ayrton Spencer set a 1:37.9 on lap 8. A 1:37.9 is... Woof. Now, I don't think that is going to count because obviously it was a pit exit lap. However, he's already flying with purple sectors by half a second again. Ayrton Spencer, you know what? Like, it's not impossible. It's very difficult, but it's not impossible for Ayrton Spencer to win here today. His pace at the moment is very concerning if you are in first, second, or third. But Sonics now has a pit stop over all his rivals, pretty much. Will we see Schechter in the pits this lap? I think we'll see Avanzo. But the Diamante Nera staying out, trying to opt for a different type of strategy here. And Avanzo stays out as well. So one-stop strategies all around, it looks like, for Diamante Nera here today. Lenny TBD isn't too far away as well. So next up, our closest battle, it is going to be Moju and Philly Wool. So as we ride on board with Moju through the final corner, going a little bit wide, that's going to help Philly Wool defend this position into turn 1. He has almost a second to work with immediately, so we should be all good to go on that one as we come into turn 1. Braking heavily, very close there to hitting the rear of Philly Wool, so missed our braking point just a little bit. That helps Philly Wool get away, but it could have been an accident, so you got to be careful with them kind of things as the very TVR-inspired livery runs its way around. Skull TBD leaves the lobby. Clearly had enough of driving around at the back of the grid. Unfortunate for him. He will settle for a single point here today. Chiller Killer, though, down in P9. That's very uncharacteristic. Oh, Ayrton Spencer down the inside. Good move made by him. Looks like he lined it up out of the Schumacher S's. We'll see if we can watch that in a little bit more detail. It was a bit hard to see, but yes, down the inside, as sweet as you like. Absolute textbook. Didn't really cost either of those cars time. And that's exactly the moves Ayrton Spencer needs to be making to remain in the battle for the lead. Now, Schechter finally pits. Does Avanzo 7? Yes, he does. So the Diamante Neros went quite far into their stint. I don't think they're going to be able to do a one-stop, but we'll see if this plays out for them. Now, they're going to be at risk to everyone who performed early pit stops here. They're very much going to be in a bad situation when it comes to track position, I think. I mean, Dougie Afroman is coming now, so he might challenge Schechter for that 4th place. He's definitely going to challenge Avanzo 7. Avanzo 7 dropped down the order to... Actually, they've got away with it. They've got away with it. I really didn't expect them to, but Diamante Nero have pulled off quite a good strategy here. They've not lost too many positions as a result of this longer first stint, so fair play to them, as Moju and Philly Wool are still doing battle through Sector 1. Chiller Killer in the background as well with a penalty. Story of ifs and buts for Chiller Killer here today. Moju going a little bit wide, Chiller Killer doing the same. Really struggling this weekend for a lot of drivers to keep the car under control. Philly Wool potentially down the inside. No, nothing doing. He'll probably wait for the hairpin. If he can get a good enough exit, the gap is 3.5 tenths. It's very doable. The gap's slightly extending now, but now coming down as Philly Wool is in the slipstream. Is he able to get the move done down the inside? No, he's just a little bit too far back and has to hold off as he goes a little bit wide. Going to cost himself some more time to Moju there. So Moju gets away with it for now in the very, like we say, TBR-inspired livery through the Schumacher S as we come into Sector 3. Chiller Killer's still lingering with this battle. But he's got to be careful just not to throw. He does all the hard work and then he just throws it away by getting on the throttle or something too early. He's got to be careful not to do that anymore because it's putting nails in his race's coffin. So to the final corner, Philly Wool is 3 tenths behind Moju. If he can get a good run here, the move is definitely on for turn 1. Just needs to get the better run. Moju didn't look like he got an amazing one though, so it remains about 2 tenths. Now this is definitely an opportunity Philly Wool's been looking for. He's in the slipstream. He'll be looking for a move to the inside. Moju senses this, starts to cover off the inside line. Goes late, very, very defensive. Very late, and it causes a little bit of a bottleneck effect. Causes Chiller Killer to make contact with Philly Wool. Nobody changes positions, but everybody Keely? Importantly? What's the word you go for that? Let me know in the comments. Very importantly, no one gets any further injury there, so we're all good to go on there. Chiller Killer is now right behind Philly Wool. Looking for a move, potentially down the inside here. No, he's going to stay behind. So now it's gone from Philly Woolly being the hunter to being the hunted from a man with a lot of experience and a lot of pace. Chiller Killer really had a race of his nightmares here today, but is he able to start making amends for it? To the hairpin we go. Does he send it? No. We stay back again. Moju very early on the brakes. Philly Wool goes wide as a result, and now that puts him under a lot of pressure as he gets onto the gravel, actually, and that costs him a position to Chiller Killer. So Chiller Killer gets a free move up into P8, and Moju can be his next target. It looks like we might have had an incident here. I think we have. Dougie Afro, man. Something's gone wrong. I saw a car moving slowly. It was coming out. Oh, and he just got on the throttle too early. Makes a big slam into the wall. Loses a position to Avanzo 7. Nürburgring really taking no prisoners here this weekend. As Moju almost lost it coming out of the final corner as well. So here's Chillakiller trying to go down the inside. Moju tries to go defensive, but it looks like it might be too little too late as Chillakiller, Dougie Abraman's teammate, moves up into P7, makes it an ART 6-7. And those guys will want to go, and Moju, again, making a mistake in turn 1, pretty much seals the deal and gives Chillakiller some immediate breathing room. So he's able to go on, try catch up his teammate, and hopefully that'll be the last time he has to pass those guys today. You see Schechter now re-homing in on Lenny TBD as the pit stops work in reverse. He does have a penalty, however. Okay, so 1.4 seconds is the gap. We'll keep an eye on that as the laps go by and see if Schechter is able to gain anything on the car in front. He's gained a temp through this sector already, so Schechter definitely looking the stronger of the cars. He's gained a lot of time, actually. 3 temps, 4 temps now through Sector 3. Incredible Sector 3 from Schechter here. We'll put him within a second of Lenny TBD in the battle for the final spot on the podium. We go through the chicane. Into the final corner now we come. And the gap is only 0.6 of a second, so Schechter absolutely flying through Sector 3 is setting himself up for an attack coming in towards Sector 1. He sets a 140.3, it was a 141.5 from Lenny, so it was almost a second difference as Lenny TBD breaks very early. Schechter almost gets caught out, now tries to sneak back down the inside, MotoGP style. There was that little of a gap. Contact made. I mean, I'm really not sure if the move was going to be on there, if I'm honest with you. It was going to be very tight. He tried to switch back. Lenny was still there, and it doesn't really look like the spin was caused from contact with Lenny. It looks more like, obviously, that corner is very, very cambered, and it is very easy to do that. So Schechter will have to re-catch up Lenny TBD and try again. 9.3 seconds is the gap between our race leader and our championship leader. As we approach the halfway mark, of course, on lap 16.5, we will be exactly halfway into this Grand Prix. Still some pit stops and excitement to come. Let's compare lap times. A 1:39.4 last time around and a 1:39.5 for Sonic. So a tenth was gained in favour of Ayrton Spener. And it has been that way. It's just been Ayrton Spener chipping off a tenth here and there. Chillakiller up into 7th place, does have a penalty as he comes back behind his teammate. Is there any battles going on the circuit at the moment? There is the Philly Wool and Moju battle still raging on. It's been a race-long battle between these two, really battling tooth and nail. There is another battle a little bit further ahead, and that's Schechter and Lenny TBD starting to close in once again then. So, again, within a second, and we know how mighty Schechter is through Sector 3. So, again, this could be another opportunity. Schechter just needs to be a little bit smarter about his move. I know he wasn't really given much time to react against Lenny TBD, fair enough, last time around. But, I mean, he's just got a dress rehearsal. That's all you got to treat it as. It was a dress rehearsal. You'll know what to do differently next time. Now he knows Lenny TBD breaks early into turn 1. He can use that. Instead of making an overtake where he'll be caught off guard, he can just use that to gain some time. And then he can start working to get himself set up for the next major overtaking opportunity, which is the hairpin. So he just needs to try hold on in this dirty air, which can be so hard to do sometimes, and just get the better run for the hairpin. And it looks like he's a little bit too far back, so Lenny TBD definitely looking stronger in Sector 1 and 2 compared to his Sector 3, where Schechter just gained so much. If we look back, I think we've got a little battle going on between Moju and Philly Wool. Philly Wool trying to look for something down the inside. Switches very late. Moju gets it covered off though. Now, Philly Wool right behind him though, could be on with a shout for the hairpin. Moju gets the better exit though, that's going to hurt. Up to the final line. Anything? Nothing. But Philly Wool gets a much better exit out as we see our race leader in for his second stop of the day. This is very interesting. So is he potentially going to try? Yes, he sensed an undercut from Ayrton Spener and came in to cover it off, because he didn't want to risk losing any time. Very interesting read there from Sonic's. Very smart read to cut off the undercut attempt. He did refuel up to 56 litres. What does Ayrton Spener do? Was that? I feel like that was a significant... Yeah, it's about the same. Ayrton Spener did gain a second in the pit stops though. Moju makes a mistake coming out of the chicane. That's going to allow Philly Wool to go around the outside as Moju comes into the pit lane for his next stop. So he held him up for as long as he could, and now he pits as the pit strategies differ once again. Yes, Ayrton Spencer definitely did, as we see Schectifer has been able to make a move on Lenny TBD here. Is Lenny TBD able to respond with anything? He has the optimal line. He should be able to get a switchback going on here. Lenny TBD, is he able to get soaring back past? It's going to be close. He's gaining. Side by side into the next corner. You're not going to be able to go around the outside of there. Lenny TBD concurs and concedes the position. I want to know if we can see. No, unfortunately we can't see what happened. We was too busy watching the Moju and Philly battle, unfortunately. But Lenny TBD's not letting this one go unanswered. Schectifer still in P3, but now Avanza 7 is inviting himself into the party as well. As we can see a battle now between the ART teammates, and Dougie Afroman looks like it was a synchronized move to let his teammate through, as they're both struggling tremendously on fuel, so they can't really waste it battling each other. But I'll imagine we'll see both of them in the pits very, very soon. Lenny TBD is under a little bit of pressure. He's been dropped now by Schectifer, and he's under all kinds of pressure from Schectifer's teammate, which is Avanza 7. Lenny TBD looked like he was defending from thin air for a second there, but maybe just a lack of concentration, I'm not sure. But anyway, he's going to come into pit lane for his next stop. Obviously, Diamante Nera boys are on an alternate strategy here today. They go longer into their stints, so we'll see where that puts them at the end of the Grand Prix. But Lenny TBD is in now, as is Chiller Killer, as is Dougie Afroman. A lot of pit stops happening on the same lap, and Ayrton Spencer, I tell you what, is flying. I almost had to not swear there. He set a 37.4 last time around. Race leader did a 39.5. So Ayrton Spencer gained 1.1 seconds on the race leader. He does have a free turn penalty, but I'm sure he'll find ways to serve that throughout this lap. But Ayrton Spencer gaining on the race leader as he goes purple in Sector 1 again. The race for the lead, ladies and gentlemen, is not over. And if there's any man who can overcome a comeback, it will be Ayrton Spencer. He had to overcome one in Austria, got the strategy all wrong, but was still able to place down, I think it was in 6th position, and he'll not want a repeat of that. He'll want to make a comeback and come for first, so we'll see how that goes. Schechter for P3 ahead of his teammate Avanza 7, a little bit further behind. Lenny TBD comes out from his pit stop safely in P5. Looks like Chiller Killer gains under pit stops from his teammate Dougie Afroman, and then it's Philly Wool backing up in P8. Moju P9 has lost out dramatically here because Philly Wool has, it looks like Moju's actually fully refilled, that's why. So Moju has put in a full tank, whereas Philly Wool only put in half a tank. So the time needed to fill up obviously is added to that, and that has allowed Philly Wool to gain dramatically on Moju. Lap 17 of the German Grand Prix. We eagerly await to see the latest lap times from the race leader and second place, and it's a 39.9 from the race leader. Ayrton Spencer was going fastest the last time we checked in, and it is a 38.6. So again, 1.3 seconds taken out of the race leader. Ayrton Spencer is gaining at a rough amount of 1.5 seconds per lap at the moment. Ayrton Spencer flying. Sonics needs to respond here. Ayrton Spencer has got worse tyres and more fuel. He's doing a cracking job, it has to be said. I'm very much looking forward to that battle for the lead. Very, very much. Ayrton Spencer is in second ahead of Schecter. I meant to say Avanza, not Ayrton Spencer again there, sorry. He is kind of keeping with his teammate, but it looks like we could very much see a Diamante Nero on the podium, or this man, Lenny TBD, behind. As a result, obviously, of the pit stops and Chiller Killer making so many mistakes. He could have been in the battle again as well today, but unfortunate. Just was making mistakes when he really couldn't afford them, and that's really put him in a bad position. Schecter still has penalty, as does Ayrton Spencer, so they are serving them. In GT Sport, there's no real time limit for serving your penalty. You just have to serve it before the end of the Grand Prix. So they're obviously serving as little as possible to lose as little time as possible. But there is 4 attempts Schecter needs to serve somewhere before the end of the Grand Prix. And Avanza 7, you would imagine, is trying to utilise that so he can be ready for the taking when that happens. Again, it's that time again. It's time to check the current lap times coming across the line. Our race leader does a 1:39.7. Ayrton Spener, almost makes a huge mistake. He does a 1:38.7. Another second taken out by Ayrton Spener from the race leader. Oh, he's pushing hard. Did you see that? My heart was in my mouth. I don't know if you'll really see it. Let me try get it a bit better for you. Ayrton Spener came out of the final corner with such speed. Look at this grass he kicks up, and look, he almost loses it on the gravel. That would have been absolutely monstrous and heartbreaking, and certainly put Ayrton Spener's race to bed. And it looks like Ayrton Spener may have made a mistake while we was watching him almost make a mistake. Did anything happen here? Because he's lost a lot of time. He had a little bit of a drift. Nothing major. But Sonics has pulled a second back in his favour, so Sonics is now responding to Ayrton Spener's pace. So Sonics has finally woken up, realised what he needs to do to maintain the lead of this Grand Prix. I thought we saw Chiller going around again there, but he held on to it. Good job. Sets personal best to boot. So Chiller Killer evidently pushing just as hard as Ayrton Spener as well. And I think that's probably why we see a battle on track. It's the wisest thing to do is just check the field now and again and check the race times from this man, Sonics, versus this man, Ayrton Spener. So once again we come up. Now this has been a great lap for Sonics. He pulled a second back in the early phases. So it's been his best lap in a while. We'll see what he's able to do up to the line. And actually, it's a 1:40.2. So Ayrton Spener, I can't imagine, is on a very good lap. No, he was on a 1:40.9. So Sonics was faster that time around. But we'll see. Was that just a rare mistake from Ayrton Spener? Or has he used the best of his tyres now? Speaking of which, Scheckter has actually still got that 4/10th penalty to serve. Still not found any way to serve it. And he is he's actually gaining on his teammate. So Avanza 7 losing time in that podium battle at the moment. Chiller Killer has actually rose up from the ashes and is catching Lenny TBD. Do you know what? P5 from Chiller Killer today would be an amazing recovery drive. I think maybe P4 might be a little bit too hard to do for him. I'm not sure on that one. I would imagine Scheckter and Avanza have got that pretty locked down, especially with them being on an alternate strategy. But Chiller Killer definitely in with a shot at P5 here, because you can see, gaining quite dramatically on Lenny TBD in front of him. Lenny TBD started off really well, obviously kept himself out of trouble, didn't get involved in anything he didn't need to, and it put him in a great position for the race. But naturally, the front runners are starting to filter through a little bit now. But we saw Lenny put up a good fight with Ayrton Spener. Made Ayrton Spener pit and undercut him instead of just flat out overtaking him. So he'll aim to do the same again. Just checking the race leaders because I thought they got a little bit closer there, but it's fine. It's just Ayrton Spener gaining a bit of time. Chiller Killer in within a second of Lenny TBD. Lenny TBD looks pretty weak through the third sector, actually. Scheckter gained massively on him, and it's this very similar story by Chiller Killer. Saying that, gets a very good run out of the final corner, so I take that back. My apologies. But we'll have to wait and see until the chicane until we can really afford to make that statement. Scheckter now pits, as does Avanza 7, the alternate strategy, Diamante Nero team, both into the pit lane together now, running in tandem pretty much, those guys. Great stuff from them so far. Chiller Killer is all over the back of Lenny TBD. We'll likely see these two battling into turn one as the Diamante Nero boys come out of pit lane. That could be interesting. Chiller Killer gaining. He's in within 2 tenths. He's definitely within a shout here. We can see the Diamante Nero boys come out behind him. A little bit of contact between the two. But Chiller Killer gets the move done down the inside. Is Lenny TBD able to perform a switchback? No, he's not. He's got the run, but nowhere to go with it. Is he going to try send it back down the inside? The opportunity's there if Chiller Killer doesn't close the door. But no, Lenny TBD concedes defeat. Chiller Killer up into P3. Obviously on an alternate strategy, but he's up into third place. Lenny TBD behind him, then it's Scheckter and Avanza 7 who've got to get past these boys at some point as well. 11 laps to go of the German Grand Prix, and it's back to similar circumstances at the front. Ayrton Spener is gaining roughly a second per lap and is still finding time on Sonics in the battle for first place. Now this is where the pressure begins to get to Sonics. We've been in this position I'm sure many of you have, I certainly have, where you're in the lead, everything is going fine, and then you suddenly see your rear view mirror, the car in it is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and Ayrton Spener takes another 1.3 seconds out of Sonic's on that lap. How about that? Ayrton Spener is so fast at the moment, it is absolutely incredible. 2.9 seconds is what Sonic's now has to work with, and to give Sonic's his due, he is a little bit faster in Sector 1. He does gain his time back in Sector 1, but it's Ayrton Spener is just so much faster all the way else that he just comes out with this unreal speed. And Ayrton Spener, we know, has this pace. We've seen him be this fast time and time again, but when you're winning that much at the top, is it possible to lose a little bit of motivation? Is it possible to underestimate your opponents like we think he did at Austria? He underestimated them, he fell victim to Alf. He has obviously stepped up from that weekend, and I think being hit off by Sonics in the opening laps has definitely been the absolute revitalisation that Ayrton Spener needs to get back to this absolute groundbreaking speed that he's showcasing us at the moment. 2.2 seconds, as we can see, it's looking like another second taken out of him this lap by Ayrton Spener. We'll see what he can do. Chiller Killer is in P3. Lenny TBD is still P4. So the Diamante Nero boys have not been able to get past Philly Wool, making a little bit of a mistake on the grass out of there. As it looks like we'll be getting ready for the pit stops very, very soon. And it looks like Sonics is going to be the first to blink into the pit lane. Now this is where it gets interesting. Ayrton Spener is not following him in. Ayrton Spener is going for an overcut. Now, Sonics obviously has to put quite a fair bit in fuel in. He has to put 10 laps worth of fuel in to get to the end of this Grand Prix for the WSR Sim Racing boys, desperately looking for their first win after coming second so many times this season. They will put in 10 laps of fuel, some new tyres, and trust the rest in Sonics, the American from Alabama, to try do his best to dethrone the man from Wales. I'm not going to pronounce where he's from because I will end up inadvertently summoning a demon, summoning a leprechaun, or speaking the name of an unreleased Pokemon. But Ayrton Spener attempting the overcut strategy. That is very interesting. As we can see, Lenny TBD is under pressure from Schechtefer. Schechtefer going around the outside like he did so many laps ago, and he gets the move done very easily as Lenny TBD breaks very early. So he looks like he's trying to lose as little time as possible. But he really did not fight that one, did he? Schechtefer was let through with relative ease. And Avanza 7 will be the next one, hoping he can pull off a move of a similar manoeuvre. Skull TBD says he hopes... try that again, shall we? Skull TBD says he hopes Spen wins. Obviously in the same organisation as Spen, cheering on his teammate. And it would be an amazing win for Ayrton Spener if he did. Sonics will do everything that he can. And you can see how hard he's pushing, just trying to stop his race that looked like a sure thing being taken away from him, picking up penalties as he desperately tries to find time to flounder this overcut effort by Ayrton Spener. So here we go, it's crunch time. Ayrton Spener into the pit lane. He goes for the overcut strategy. No matter what happens now, he'll have a lap fresher tyres than Sonics. Sonics is coming around the final corner now. Where is Ayrton Spener? Ayrton Spener's got to put a lot of fuel in, so I'm not entirely sure this overcut strategy has worked for him. We get flashbang, that's a famous saying. Here is Sonics then, coming down the start-finish line. Where is Ayrton Spener? Ayrton Spener's come out ahead of Sonics. Where is Sonics in relation? He's nowhere. Ayrton Spener completes the undercut and goes into the lead of the German Grand Prix. He will have to hold on for this for 8 laps, but he's got a lap younger tyres. He's been consistently faster. The overcut, something I never thought we would see in the ISR Red Bull. We know how powerful the undercut is, and he's managed to take the complete opposite and take the lead of the Grand Prix, but he has to hold on to it, and I'm sure Sonics will be fired up to try return the favour. We'll be right back in just 1 second. We'll continue the footage rolling, but we'll be right back in commentary in just a moment. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. And let's have a look at the situation report then. Chiller Killer, still in P3 but needs to pit for fuel, so Schecterfer and Avanza 7 are effectively battling for the podium with Lenny TBD, who's running out of fuel as well, however. Dougie Afroman is in P7 ahead of Philly Wool. And then it's Ayrton Spencer, our racing championship leader, leading from Sonics, starting to pull away from Sonics. He sets a 1:37.8, it's only a 1:39.9 for Sonics. Ayrton Spencer looking so fast. He had enough pace to pull off an overcut here today, which was absolutely incredible. And Chiller Killer pits with a single litre of fuel. He'll need to put on 8 laps worth of fuel. That pretty much ends a realistic attempt at the podium, because Diamante Nero look like they've got that locked down. Great strategy from them guys here today. Lenny TBD pits, Dougie Afroman pits, Chiller Killer pits. So Chiller Killer definitely in a battle with Lenny TBD here for P5 minimum. And Chiller Killer does look like he's going to come out quite significantly ahead of Lenny TBD. He's already around turn 1 as Lenny TBD exits the pits. Dougie Afroman will exit the pits and he'll be comfortably ahead of Philly Wool as well. Again, Ayrton Spencer leads from Sonic. Schecterfer being chased down by Avanza 7. We ride on board with Avanza 7 as he tries to chase down his teammate. He's been so close, but he's just not been able to put the matter to bed. And this will be Schecterfer's second podium of the season. Diamante Nero's second podium of the season as well, if he can pull this off here today. And it does look like Avanza 7 definitely gains through Sector 2. And then we've just spoke time and time again about how powerful Phil Schecterfer has been in Sector 3. That he just sort of takes the points away back. The guys are pretty evenly matched through Sector 1. But it looks like Schecterfer's Sector 3 is what's helping him out the most at the moment. Between the two Diamante boys. Schecterfer still has a 2-TEF penalty to serve somewhere, but yeah, look how powerful he is. That he takes a good 4 attempts out of his teammate in the final sector, and that's what's really securing him for the rest of the lap, because they're both, like we say, pretty evenly matched through Sector 1, and then Avanza's faster in Sector 2, and then Phil is faster in Sector 3. Ayrton Spencer beginning to check out now. Already a 2-second gap on Sonic's behind. Ayrton Spencer looking to return to winning ways. He's got 6 laps to do it. Now Schecterfer, 1.4 seconds. Like we said, the gap stayed pretty much the same through Sector 1. Now we'll watch as we estimate that Avanza 7 will pull the time back through Sector 2. And he does. A lot of time pulled back by Avanza 7 in Sector 2. So definitely a lot stronger than his teammate in Sector 2. But then it's vice versa in Sector 3. And this is why we've seen these guys maintain the same gap for pretty much the entire Grand Prix. And it's just because they're so evenly matched, just in different ways. Avanza 7 needs to learn something in Sector 3 if he wants to get past Schecterfer. Schecterfer could ideally do with learning something in Sector 2. That's not how you do Sector 3, though. That will negate his advantage that he usually takes just a little bit. As he gets on the gravel, trying to get on the throttle a bit too early. That will light up Avanza 7's eyes. So we go through the final chicane up to the final corner. And it looks like it's mainly the chicane where Avanza's sacrificing the most time to his teammate. But this is the closest Avanza 7 has been. Now, it's not close enough to make a move, but it's close enough to use his advantage in Sector 2 that he's had for pretty much the entire race to some degree. And he might actually be able to line up a move into the hairpin, because Schecterfer is starting to crack a little bit under pressure. He's made a little bit of a mistake out of turn 1 as well. And out the final corner we come. You can see Avanza 7 looking more comfortable on this lap than he ever has behind his teammate. However, he's got to make use of this, because if he just lets that advantage from Schecterfer making a mistake go unnoticed, then it's all going to be for nothing. But the interesting thing I want to point out is these guys can't really afford to battle that hard. And that reason is this man here. Chillakiller absolutely flying at the moment. Setting times a good second or two faster than these guys in front of him. So if they start battling super hard, Chillakiller's in with a chance of a podium here today. 5 laps remaining of the German Grand Prix. Ayrton Spener leads and is fully checking out from Sonic's behind. Then it's Schechter and Avanza 7 battling for the final spot on the podium. And Chillakiller's there if it all goes wrong. Just wanted to check that there was no other battles we should be watching from Schechter. Really starting to wear on his front tyres again. If you've noticed, compare that to his teammate who makes a little mistake at the final corner. See, his fronts are just dropping so much faster. Avanza needs to think of a way to make a quick and clean move on his teammate because he's running out of laps. If he starts to let desperation sink in, well, quite simply, he will potentially cost both of them. Because Chillakiller's still gaining. He was 4 and a bit seconds last lap. He's now only 3 and a bit. So Chillakiller's there if this goes wrong. And I think maybe that's why Craig's been a little bit hesitant to overtake his teammate so far. Oh, but that's the closest he's ever been. That is an opportunity if he's ever seen one. Schechter realises it and covers off the inside pretty early. Avanza might see that as a chink in the armour and is able to get back on the throttle. Toward the Schumacher S's we come. Avanza 7 gaining all the time now. He's really starting to settle into a rhythm over his teammate. Oh, Schechter made another little mistake. Really looking like it's Avanza's to lose now. Schechter is losing time left, right and centre and he's just making so many mistakes. He needs to relax a little bit. He's got 6/10 of penalties as well, so it's all looking code red for the American compared to his Scottish compatriot. Coming out the final corner though, he does get his rhythm back a little bit and is able to pull out an advantage to at least potentially stop a move happening into turn 1. 3 laps of the Grand Prix to go and Ayrton Spener is gone. He has managed to extend the gap to 8 seconds. Incredible driving from the Welshman. Who would have thought that he would win by such a high margin after that first incident? Definitely was driving fired up today and really unveiled his full hand to show Sonics what he thought. Right on board with Avanza 7 again through the sector where he is stronger. So, into the hairpin we come. Key thing to note, Avanza 7 is using traction control at the moment, as Schechter is not. Through the Schumacher S's, Avanza has actually lost a lot of time. And Ayrton Spener pits. What? Is Ayrton Spener toying with his food here? What is this? There was literally no reason for Ayrton Spener to pit. He's put himself under pressure from Sonics a little bit. Is this really just a taunt now by Ayrton Spener to rub salt in the wound of Sonics? I think it is. There was no reason to pit. That is just a taunt. He's going to try go for another fastest lap, I think, just to seal the deal. And he has been taken out by Sonics. Drove back up through the entire field, took the lead of the Grand Prix back and has been able to pull out a pit stop's distance. Wow. Wow. Now that is Chillakiller, by the way, has arrived on the scene of Avanza 7. So Avanza 7 really not being able to do the job against his teammate. And it looks like his time's up as he's under immense pressure from the Dane. Looking for a way around him, trying to steal his podium. Avanza 7's got to hang on for this 4th place, hang on to stop him catching his teammate as well. Chillakiller's got 2 laps to figure this out. Chillakiller, what a comeback as well for him today. Avanza had a pretty good comeback after his early mistake too. Chillakilla looking like he's going to favour for the outside line. He's going to try it. He'll get squeezed out wide, surely. But if he can hang on to it, he has the inside line. So I like his thinking there. Definitely showing his teeth. Definitely showing him what he can do. And he gets a pretty impressive run. Avanza 7 covers off the inside line. Is he able to cover it off enough? Yes, he is. Chillakilla held back for another corner. Trying the outside there, never going to work. We'll have to go for some kind of switchback. Switchback definitely on in this occasion. Really gaining on Avanza 7 now. Able to line up the inside nicely. He'll have to go the long way around, similar to Schumacher did all those years back to win the European Grand Prix. And he does just that. Chillakilla moves up into P4 with an excellent Schumacher-esque move here at the home of the German. And he will move us up into P4. And he is already behind Schecterfer. Chillakilla on an absolute flyer here this afternoon. He's looking like he's going to dismantle Diamante Nero's plans considerably. As we can see, Schecterfer is going into turn 1. And Chillakilla looking like he's going to go around the outside there. Goes for a switchback maneuver. Back up the inside. And Chillakilla moves up into P3. What an absolute comeback for the Dane. Fantastic driving. He is able to get through after all those laps ago and take P3 away from Diamante Nero after they ran the perfect strategy here today. Absolutely amazing stuff from Chillakilla. Diamante Nero will be a bit gutted that they let that one go. They did everything they could, but the alternate strategy, unfortunately, was just no match for them here today. And now there is about a lap and a half for Avanza 7 and Schecterfer to sort this out amongst themselves. Ayrton Spinner has pulled 8 seconds on Sonics immediately after pitting. He's been so fast. He's definitely going for the fastest lap. Is he able to set it? He's got to be a 38.6. Is he going to just round it off? Yes, he is. Of course he is. It's Ayrton Spinner. He picks off a 138.3 to put the matter to bed, as Chillakilla did with his teammate. Ooh, Schecterfer picks up a 5/10 penalty. Now that could be damning, because he has to serve that penalty before the end of the Grand Prix, or it could cost him P4. And he's got to be careful where he chooses to serve it, because it's going to allow his teammate in with a shout as well. Vanzo 7, 8 temps, 9 temps behind his teammate. Schecterfer still got to serve 1 temp somewhere on this lap. It'll be the final lap, the final attempt for Avanza 7. And he gets a little bit closer every time. And you can cut the tension with a wire. They both make a mistake. You couldn't write it. They both make the exact same cardboard cutout mistake as each other. Oh dear. So there you have it. That could be the matter put to bed between Diamante Nero here today. But the man, we all came and could not believe what he's done here today. An absolute stonking victory for Ayrton Spinner, who wins the German Grand Prix in dominant fashion, takes the win, takes the fastest lap, and makes the comeback from last to first. Incredible driving by him here today. Sonics will be kicking himself. He had it all under control, and it all fell away. He will settle for P2 here today. Chillakilla, another man who we speak about when we speak of great comebacks here this afternoon. Chillakilla has done an amazing job to come from so many spins and accidents to take P3 anyway. Where could he have been today if he was not involved in them incidents, I wonder. He will take P3. Great comeback from the Dane. And out the final corner, Schecterfer will hold on. He has served his penalty, and he will finish 4-5 ahead of a great midfield result for Diamante Nero. Lenny TBD will come around the final corner to pick up P6. Was running in P3 for a while, was doing a great job, but unfortunately just didn't have the pace here today. Dougie Afroman will be disappointed with P7, I'm sure. Across the line, and then it will be Moju and Philly Wall. Looks like Moju made the wrong strategy call in his final stop, which pretty much put him out of the battle with this man, Philly Wall, here today. As Philly will come home and pick up a solid 4 points for Philliams in absence of his teammate here today. And Ayrton Spinner won the German Grand Prix in an insane fashion. One of the most dominant drives we've seen from him yet, and he just seems to get better like a fine wine every single weekend. Incredible driving. And further cements his lead at the top of the championship. Great job this afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to join us next week because we've got some crazy stuff happening in the form of the Northern Isle 45. We're going oval racing, baby. You bunch of hot dogs. I'll see you then. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good evening. Good night.